Back in January, West Ham United activated a clause in Vladimír Coufal's contract, applying a further 12 months to his current deal, so his contract now expires in the summer of 2025. However, the player is not happy about it. That's according to his agent. Now, when I say the player is unhappy, he's not necessarily unhappy at staying at West Ham United. It's the fact that West Ham haven't offered him an improved contract at this point in January. Now, West Ham are in negotiations with Coufal now, and that's why it's come to light, because truth be told, I missed these quotes from his agent back in January. Obviously, the January transfer window, West Ham weren't in great form, we had all the talk around David Moyes' future, so it was easy for this to go sort of under the radar a little bit. But the Athletic have done a report last week in regards to Coufal's contract, and there's quotes from his agent, so it's pretty watertight, this report, I think. Now, when news and rumours comes around in regards to players' futures at West Ham, I can't help think, does this indicate that David Moyes is going to be here or not be here? So we've decided already that Flynn Downs is going to be sold. Would that indicate that Moyes is going to remain here? In regards to this though, I think this tells us nothing, because there was something key that happened in January last year in 2023, which I think this removes David Moyes from the equation altogether. Because I think he'd be forgiven for thinking, well, we're trying to get Coufal to sign a contract extension. That would imply Moyes is remaining. I'm not sure that's the case. For what it's worth, I don't think it implies he's leaving either. I think it's just null and void, really. But I'll discuss that towards the second half of the video. Let's first deal with the actual reports itself. But before we do that, if you're new around here and enjoy this video, please do subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. And also drop a like on it by clicking the thumbs up. Helps out the video, helps out the channel. Makes me very happy on this Easter Monday. So the reports. Back in January, let's go back a couple of months, West Ham triggered a clause in Vladimír Coufal's contract applying that further 12 months. And his agent had a lot to say, actually. His agent said, Couf, that's what he calls him, Couf certainly deserves a better salary from the club and a new, improved, longer-term contract for his long-term performances in the West Ham jersey, in addition to the title in the Conference League. So far, even after negotiations, West Ham's management sees it differently and has only exercised the option of a 1-year extension. Couf is not happy about it, as we expected a better offer. So there you go. I think that's pretty concrete in the sense that we have triggered that clause, and also Coufal expects better terms. Now, the context around this is that when Coufal arrived, because we signed up in the Czech league, we were able to take advantage of that and offer him a low wage, and that's the right thing to do. Now, I say a low wage. To you and I, it's a lot of money. 35 grand a week is this sort of widely reported wage that Coufal's on. It may be a little bit more, but it's still quite low for a regular starter in the Premier League, especially a 31-year-old international. And I know he wasn't in the last international squad for the friendlies, but we'll get on to that one because he's still going to have hopes to go to the Euros, Coufal, despite his little piss up in the previous international break before that one. But it's 35 grand a week isn't a lot. And Souček was on probably a little bit more than Coufal, but it was quite similar. Souček was in a similar situation that after the first year, when we finished 6th in the league and qualified for the Europa League, both Czech players had a big part to play, huge part to play in that success. And they wanted instant recognition for that. It was a case of, well, our contracts are no longer good enough. Our contracts are for a player who may not be good enough for the Premier League coming from the Czech League. Well, actually now we're players, key players in a side playing European football, so can we have a contract to reflect that? Now, Coufal's obviously had a new deal since then, but Souček's had a new deal since then, but Coufal has remained on his original contract, which is 35 grand a week. So I understand why the player and the agent feel Coufal deserves an improved salary. Now, West Ham have obviously sort of protected themselves here, triggering that clause, which means that Coufal can't go in the summer for free, and buy some time to negotiate. Now, Athletic are reporting that currently, right now, West Ham are in negotiations with Vladimír Coufal and his representative over an improved deal. Coufal, they've not signed anything, they've not agreed anything yet, but they are trying to improve his salary. But also the problem is West Ham are reluctant to add too many years on top because, well, he turns 32 in August. So if you give him a 2-year extension, that's nearly 34 years old when he's leaving the club. That's where we get into this territory where it gets a little bit iffy, doesn't it? Because Coufals' form recently, I think he's been brilliant recently, actually. Since sort of like post-Christmas, I think Coufals' been fantastic. He was very poor against Newcastle. And I was maybe a bit harsh. We did a Spurs preview and I said, did I get Coufal out, put Johnson in? But we recorded that one Saturday night, so I was still a bit annoyed from the game against Newcastle. But form-wise, I think Coufal's been excellent. He's had his dips this season. He's not been, the form he showed when he first rocked up. But he's been really good. Last season, I think he had a pretty poor first 6 months of the season, but he turned around. The second half was quite strong as we went on to win the Conference League. But by and large, I think he's been an absolute bargain at the $5 million that we paid for him. I think he's been a superb signing for us. Does he deserve that new contract? I think he does, but it doesn't mean it's the right thing for West Ham to do, committing a substantial wage to a player who's in his 30s and has shown periods of poor form over the last couple of seasons. Like I said, now I'm pleased with his form. But because of the Ben Johnson situation, I would like this one to be resolved pretty soon. And I would like to see him getting a contract extension and an increased wage because he deserves it. He does deserve that. And I'm not suggesting we start paying him a ludicrous amount of money, but even doubling his wages is 70 grand a week. That's still a bonus supposedly on 60, 70 grand a week. That's the same wage as a guy who's not playing at the minute. So I can understand Coufal's frustration with this one because he's been here 4 years now. I can see why he feels he deserves a new deal, and I agree with him. It doesn't mean it's the right thing for West Ham, but I'd imagine he will announce a new contract. But because of the Ben Johnson situation, in which is he's probably going in the summer, I don't want to see us go and get 2 right backs. I think we need to improve in the right back position. I would like to see us go and get a significant upgrade in that department to challenge Coufal for the right back spot next season and almost do what we've done at left back. I think how we've handled the Emerson Creswell thing has been really good. We brought in Emerson, they competed with each other. Emerson then grabbed his shirt, became the number 1 left back, and Creswell's played backup this season. I think that transition over there has been really, really good and almost well planned by West Ham. I'd like to see something similar at right back now, where in the summer we're targeting a right back that's just as good, better than Coufal, can come in, can compete with him, and by this time next season, the new right back's got that shirt. We've got our transfer business right. He's settled in. And now Coufal's sort of playing second fiddle to him at the latter stage of his career. I think that would be ideal for me. Whether it happens or not, we shall have to wait and see. But moving on to what I said at the start. When all this news and stuff comes out, there is part of me that's thinking in regards to what this means for David Moyes. Because the truth be told, I don't know. I find it hard to guess what's going to happen with Moyes. Is he going to get a new contract? Is he not? I'm not sure. I don't know. I would guess at the minute he probably will get one, but I don't feel strongly about that prediction. I do not know what the club are going to do. But the key thing here with the Vladimír Coufal contract extension is I don't think Moyes has an influence on this. And the reason being, and this is where this whole video, in terms of the rumours, it feels pretty watertight. His agent is saying that we've extended the contract and the player's unhappy. That's as good as you're going to get. And Coufal's quite outspoken himself and he's quite honest. He was again post Newcastle. I quite like him actually. He is quite an honest character when asked questions. He doesn't sit there and hold back. He speaks it. He says he's unhappy. Just recently he said about how we're getting the results. The football isn't great, but we're getting the results at the minute. I find it very hard to disagree with what he's saying actually. This was obviously before the Newcastle game. But if we go back to January 2023 when he wasn't in great form, Vladimír Coufal, and one club in particular really wanted to sign him in the winter transfer window. So December time he was heavily linked to one club in particular, Bayer Leverkusen, Tim Steiden's clubs. Tim Steiden was still at Bayer Leverkusen at this point, and they had identified Vladimír Coufal as the right back that they wanted. They wanted to try and sign Vladimír Coufal, and I believe that transfer rumours because Coufal has spoke about them. Vladimír Coufal himself has spoken about how there was interest in him. He was tempted to go, but David Moyes rang him up and basically said to him, don't go, I want you to be my right back, because he was in and out the team at this point, Coufal. He wasn't holding down that right back spot. And Moyes basically said, stay, and I'll put you back in the team and keep you in the team. And he went on to have a really good second half of the season. So I think the interest from Bayer Leverkusen was genuine, and Tim Steiden, it might not be Steiden that's decided Coufal was the guy to go get. But there you go. Our sporting director was at the football club that tried to sign Coufal last season, in my opinion. So West Ham extending his contract is the right thing to do. It protects the club, it retains that value. We want to sell him in the summer, we'd probably get a few million quid for him. Certainly a lot more than him walking out the door for free. So I don't think this really has a sort of David Moyes fingerprints all over it per se. I think this is maybe one of Tim Steid's. I don't know, I'm just speculating. But I say everything's watertight. The rumours are. This part is just an opinion. I don't read too much into it. But there you go. That's the reports that Vladimír Coufal is unhappy with the terms, or should I say lack of terms, offered by West Ham. He wants an improved contract. But Athletic are reporting that they're working on it. West Ham are going to try and get him a new contract and hopefully add another year on top so you'll have a 2-year deal or something. I've got a feeling this one will happen. While I don't know in terms of Moyes' contract, in terms of Coufal's, I feel quite confident that Coufal will sign a new deal. But he's got all the motivation under the world right now, Vladimír Coufal. He wants a new contract. You've got to back it up on the pitch, earn one, but also get back into the Czech squad because he wasn't included in the friendlies after, I say, he didn't fall out with the manager, letting the team down when he went out on the piss. Now, obviously, he's apologised to the manager and supposedly he was all forgiven and don't worry about it. But he's got a bit of a job on his hands to get back into that team for the summer. So he's got all the motivation in the world to have a strong end to the season. And I think he will, actually. Like I said, I think he's been in good form recently. But yeah, there you go. Vladimír Coufal, new contract with West Ham. I think it'll happen. Anyway, I'm going to disappear now. Enjoy your Easter Monday. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammers Chat, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow.